So good morning, Alexander. Good morning, Marco. Good morning to all participants in this webinar about Russian and Nordic markets, how to enter the markets and how to access the markets. Our webinar will be held as follows. The first participant to share something with us will be Alexander. Alexander is from Russia. He's a consultant specialized in market entry in Russian markets, especially in the food area, food and beverage. He has a great experience for more than 15 years in helping companies to enter the market of Russia. And then we'll have also Marco. Marco is a dear friend of mine for long. He is in Finland. He's also a consultant in investments, in management, also an opinion maker about the markets and international markets. Also a friend of a lot of Portuguese and international companies, helping them in access to the Finnish market and all the Nordic markets. So he will talk and share with us some of his concerns and opinions after Alexander. Share with us some information, and then we'll have a period for questions and answers. And those questions and answers, you the participants, can put them in the chat, and then we'll share with our moderators, and we'll have some kind of interaction over here. So, without any delays, I would like to invite Alexander to share with us some of his ideas about the Russian market and how to enter the Russian market. Alexander, thank you very much. A special thank in this day that is a national day in Russia, and you are having a little bit of your time shared with us. Thank you very much, Alexander. So whenever you want to start, thank you very much.
Hello everyone. I'm very glad to welcome everyone who first joined us, and especially those who joined us a second. Today I will try more briefly about Russian food market, what we can more time to answer the question. And let's start. Yes, today is the day of Russia. Today is 39 years how Russia Federation to be separate country for the Soviet Union Republic. And let's start. Let me in the beginning introduce myself briefly. My name is Alexander and I am a unique expert in Russian food industry. In the past I'm top manager. Now I have my own consulting business. I provide different business services for food business owners from 243 countries of the world. I am also the author of the book Your First 50 Right Steps to Enter the Russian Market. This book about how foreign companies enter to Russian food market, don't make mistakes and don't lose money. It is the only book in the world about Russian food market right in English. And now I want to tell you about general trends in the Russian market. At the first, I tell you about the universal trends, what are important for any types of business. First one is any foreign product better than Russian product, or a brand in English is better than brand in Russian. Is true for clothing, furniture, electronic, food, pet food, anything. About resorts, just habit from the USSR when there was nothing in Russia. and having a foreign thing was luxury. So it's very important for foreign company when you enter to Russian market. Your products have a psychology advantage, even if more expensive than Russian product. It's very important. Second trend is similar to the global one. Online shopping is growing in Russia past years because there are no Amazon, Shopify in Russia. But there are such numerous online shops and more than different online marketplace in Russia that to be very interesting, very famous, and very rise every year. Finally, I was about last time, and now I want to repeat. Our 1 million private businesses in Russia will be closed in this year due to virus. But for foreign company, it's important for in this year you will be have 1 million few competitors on Russian food market. Now let's talk about general trends in the Russian food market. It's more important, it's more interesting. The strongest one food trend in Russia is healthy food and healthy diet. It's very strong trend. Such words eco, bio, organic add real value to your food product. These products are 2-3 times more expensive than ordinary one, but now in Russia where I have regular customers. It's very important because it's constant customers. For example, vegetarian food, it's also trend only in big cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and others. For example, plant milk was popular in Russia only several years. For example, most important, most famous, most trendy in Europe plant meat is not trend in Russia now because it's not yet supplied in Russia and no produced in Russia. What information, what important new for foreign company, what global food trends come to Russia from Europe or USA only 2 years later. So it's now is popular in Portugal. It's will be interesting in Russia now through 1 through 3 years and other. Let's talk about more interesting information. Banned food and how solve this problem, because it's a very often question what business owner from Europe ask me every day. The ban is a ban of food products is already 6 years old. But in Russia, the most of food items under the ban are freely sold now. How it's possible? Let me talk about this. Firstly, wholesale company and food retail chains very easy find similar products in other country. Second, banned food produced from third countries. For Belarus is for Europe is Belarus such country. Banned products are brought to Belarus, repacked to get label made in Belarus. Then products are brought to Russian without payment any customs duty, because Russia and Belarus are members of Eurasia Customs Union. Finally, the food product from Ukraine start product their brand in Russia. They did not build own plants. They just found contact manufacturers similar products, provide recipes, and monitor the quality. For interesting, the most seller food product from Ukraine now in Russia it's vodka. Vodka from brand from Ukraine because quality is more higher than vodka when made in Russia. For interesting. Personally, I think what the last scheme is the best solution for the ban problem. When you will be have label made in Russia on your product, you will be protect from all future ban. And you can supply to other 4 countries of Eurasian custom unions without duties. It's very profitably. One important reason it's the product who was produced in Russia always will be support from personally Russian government. In some Russian region, there are special areas. There are foreign startup, foreign company do not pay income tax for 49 years. Equipment, transport, building are not taxed all. It's very profitably. In many Russian regions now, governors personally monitor and protect foreign business. Typically, different Russian regions specialize in various industries: food, machinery, IT, clothes and shoes. And in Russia, there are 85 regions. And you very easy choose such region what is more suitable for your business, for your product, and for you. For example, let me show you most easy step-by-step strategy to enter the Russian market. This is very important. You need to understand when you want to assess, when to enter Russian market, no one knows about your company and your product. Your brand does not have a reputation in Russian market yet. So there are steps what I recommend should make before start enter to Russian market. What in the future you not lose money. The first check allowed to supply your food products to Russian. And don't forget check all ingredients of your product if it's food product. Second, decide what you want to sell your product in the future, online or offline. It's very important because offline market in Russia is very strong and online market in Russia is very strong. Food, clothes, equipment, online selling is very good in Russia every year. I recommend research about your future customers in Russia. Organize tasting because you may need to adapt your product according to the taste of Russian. For interesting, for example, all Russian food company when they want to enter, for example, China food market, they always organize tasting, and after that they in 100% customize taste of Russian food product to habits people in China. Next, research your future competitors. What already say similar products on the Russian food market. Your product is not the first in Russia, and the second. And many other foreign company already sell similar products in Russia. If you research your future competitors, if you can take the best their solution, it will be more profitable for you, and you can save many time in the future. The next is very easy. Create just simple database of your future potential client and buyers in Russia. It's help you to save money or save time in the future. Next step, translate all your marketing materials or just one page on your website on Russian language, because in Russia there are few people who knew foreign languages. For example, if you want to review websites of food company in Ukraine, you will be very amazed because 99% of website of Ukraine food company has translate to English language or another European language, such Poland or Germany. Because in Ukraine, all business owner understand how it's important. Next, I recommend write just few articles in Russian media about your food products and about present yourself and your company. Create your own page in Russian social networks. For example, in Russia, there are not famous like such social networks like Facebook, Twitter, and another. In Russian, people prefer use Russian social networks and prefer spend time in these social networks. Next, I recommend start selling your products online. Just few products. If you want via your website, Instagram store, or Russian marketplace, it's very important what you can collect the first feedback from your Russian customers, and hear this feedback and decide for yourself all questions what your future Russian buyers or customers will be ask you. After only that, it's very important. You can start sending your commercial offers to your future potential client. And only after that, I recommend attend part of an exhibition what relates in Russia to your products. Because, of course, such in other country, take part in exhibition, it's some faster way to enter the Russian food market and Russia other market. Because in exhibition there are participate only experts in industry, and they can and they can faster decide your product interesting for his or not. My colleague Irina helped me translate. I so sorry. And only after that, when you have your first customers and buyers in Russia, I recommend only after that decide what you want to open your own legal entity in Russia, or you prefer working remote through a distributor, importer, or official representative. The first will be work, and the second work. How you want and how it will be convenient for you, and how it will be profitably for your business. And my lovely image, Russian beers. At the end, I want to tell about most important difference in going food business in Europe, in Russia. It's difference. There are few Europe business owner new because these business owners approach me and ask to help with finding an agent for their products, food agent, intermediate, and other. But there are no food agents in Russian market. Nobody in Russia work for only commission. And I recommend if you want real to supply to Russia, if you want to make a real business on Russian food market, don't wait. There you can find agent in Russia. Work directly with importers, wholesales, distributors, Russian online marketplace, don't matter. But should work directly. For example, then I want to what you need to know. The most foreign company who before the ban work through distributors or importers in Russia, and now they are lost their markets after the ban because they did not know the final buyers or customers, and so that could not adapt to the new really about one product. If they was sell their product directly, for example, they can adapt very easy. They can now supply through third country. You can, they can produce their product in Russia. There are many another very profitably ways to continue work on Russian food market. But there are did not interesting and there are work through distributors. Now it's price. Yes, price for that. There are lost Russian food market. My final advice I said about this last time, and I want to repeat now because I know it's very important. Don't afraid working with Russia directly. You can choose any consulting agency in Russia. You can choose a consulting agency in Europe or Portugal. But when you just need to invest in entering Russian market once, this investment will be paid back very quickly. It's very important and it's help to you. Don't make mistakes and don't lose money many years ago. Thank you so much. Carlos?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alexander, for your explanation about entering the Russian market. Now, I would like to ask our participants if they have some questions to prepare them and put them in the chat room so that after Marco presentation we can have a debate about these matters. I'd like to ask Marco if you are ready, Marco, to share with us some of your ideas. Thanking again, Alexander. Alexander, thank you again for your short information regarding the market, the Russian market. So, Marco, you can share the file. Maybe if you have a PDF, it's better to share the screen. You have to put your PDF open back and then share the screen so that we can see.
Okay.
Partilhar ecrã.
Is it like this? Wow. Are
Yes.
you there?
Yes, we are seeing the
Okay.
3 small trees on your garden.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you, Marco, once again for your kind presentation that you are going to do and share with us some of your ideas about the Nordic countries and Finland in particular. Thank you very much.
My friends, good morning. Here is Marco speaking from Kotka, the largest harbor for logistics in Finland. I should say Kotka and Amina, they share that honor because the harbor is owned by both cities. So this today is the second part of the presentation that we start on the 27th of May, that you see the link there of the 27th. Then I will provide a PDF with a link to the record today. And I want to go on with the presentation, and now what we are going to do, I will try to have it just 20 minutes. And from the previous presentation, I received some comments of persons that were attending around the world that said that I didn't mention COVID-19. And I will share with you why I didn't, but since the persons were interested, I will do some comments. Then from the previous presentation, I received some comments that the persons would like to know more about this e-presence in Finland, and I will focus on that. So the PDF has got the presentation of today and the presentation of last week, of the 27th. So you can start with that and then come here, and then you will see the points developed. And then the last part, I will do some kind of what to do next. It's always important to remind us about these challenges of perception and the things in themselves. And Finland has got several outstanding philosophers, and one of them is definitely Georg Henrik von Wright. And he has got a sublime phrase in the lines of Immanuel Kant that says more or less like this. Actually, I will read it. But understanding what something is in the sense of is like should not be confused with understanding what something is in the sense of means or signifies. And this is extremely important for the subject that we are having today, which is about internationalization. So I have to thank the Universidade Europeia for organizing this seminar. It was a surprise for me to have the second seminar, and I appreciate. And of course that I shouldn't be surprised, because everything that has got the end of Professor Carlos Silva makes the difference. So I appreciate the effort that the team at the University Universidade Europeia they put on the job. And it's an honor for me to have Alexander in the other side presenting the Russian market, because as you saw, he mastered the subject that is an international reference regarding Russia, and not only Russia, and regarding food and not only food. What I would like is that in the end of this seminar, part 1 and part 2, is that the persons that they are participating and they are reading the PDF afterwards, because it's not possible for everybody to be here with us now, those that would like to, is somehow that the persons get a way to explain to third parties how their companies can benefit from being present in Finland, both e-present or physically present. And then to understand how to do it in macro terms. As you see, I use the word explain and understanding on the same lines of Jörg Henrik von Wright. So the next thing is that I will come in is about COVID-19. Why I didn't talk anything about COVID-19 last time? Because we are in the new era and there is not so much relevance to talk about, yes, we need oxygen. Yeah, we know that we need oxygen. So we are with the COVID-19, so there is no point of spreading noise about the subject, and especially when the noise is related with fear. And both the noise and both the fear are not good for business. And we are business people, business-minded people. We have several interests, but business is one of them. So I don't like to participate on this process of increasing the noise and increasing the fear related with COVID-19. And I would suggest you to think and to reflect on the same lines, because we can be the weakest link to break to keep the fear going. So if we break the fear, the business is back, and that is the thing that we have to work and to move forward. I really don't care why the virus is here. As far as I know, we have life since 3.8 billion years ago, and we have been always dealing with pathogens. So this is another one that we have to deal with, our immunological system, and we will succeed. You see, I don't think that a species that is here for 300,000 years is going away because a virus that, regardless where it was created or not, which I really don't care. So the idea is that being with me, don't spread the fear, because we are here for business. Then one way of doing it, because fear is very much driven by the reality and by the perception. If we want to stop the noise, and if we want to stop the fear, it seems that is needed that we try to be safe when we are in contact with the others. So to do that, please use these hand sanitizers, these gloves, which I do every time that I'm going out of my home to meet other human beings. I use my gloves, and which I put into the garbage before I get inside home. And the masks when I am having meetings with the persons, we will respect the distance and all of this. And please be aware that this social distancing doesn't exist. What is effective is physical distancing, not social distancing. We are a species that we don't live with social distancing, because when we do that, we put persons on prison. That is the time that we do social distancing. So let's move on and think about business and not be so much involved with this killing of business. So next time we have to be more aware of the difference between of perception and reality. So we have to be aware of it and to keep the business going. Just to conclude, problems are solvable. So this is a problem that we will fix, and problems are inevitable. That's why humans are needed. Otherwise, we have robots, we have Internet of Things, and we have all of the artificial intelligence to do it. So let's be more confident about ourselves, about our capabilities, and move on away of this COVID-19 fear. And if you have the opportunity to read the books from David Dutch and Timothy Snyder, I think you will gain energy and force and strength to move on. Here are some epistemological reference that you can enjoy by reading yourself. And all the document is done that if you go to the top of the quotation, you click and you go to the source. So now we go to Finland. We go to this presence in Finland and giving more touch, more emphasis on the e-presence in Finland, which was something that some attendees they request. So what I understand by e-presence is the capability and will of gaining market share in Finland, and including or especially through the online or electronic presence or digital dimension. Whatever you want to define for me, it's fine. What I want to say is that or the company has got capabilities or not. If the company hasn't got the capabilities, then the company has to get organized itself and get the capabilities. And the capabilities are, does the company has got the budget for the internationalization? Does the company has got time for the internationalization? Does the company has got the competences for the internationalization? Well, if the company has it, fine, go for it. If the company has not, fine as well, just get organized and get them. Then the other thing that I feel that is very important is the will. Does the company have the will to go for the internationalization or not? If the administration is not on board, I find it quite difficult that the company will succeed, because the capabilities won't be there, because the administration will not allocate them. So I am having here an example of Mr. Manuel Barbeiro Costa, which is an outstanding example, Portuguese example, businessman that he was he got the medal from former president of Portugal, Aníbal Cavaco Silva, and one of the reasons is for his drive in terms of internationalization. And he among many outstanding things, he bought the company Rauma in Finland in the resins industry. So other thing on the to have a success on the e-presence in Finland is very much the basic heuristics that you are aware of it when you are studying, when you are working or in the field. So you have to think about the moments of truth. Before the moments of truth were just the experience moment of the consumer. Now you have a screen between you, your product, and the consumer experience. So when you are designing the e-presence, you really need to move on and to understand the first moment of truth, which is the screen. Then to make sure that on the second moment of truth, the promise that you made in the first moment, it's accomplished. Which means that you have to be even more careful on keeping the promise. Then the other part is very much the mix of Philip Kotler that you can find for P's or 5 P's, whatever P's you find it. But the point is that you have to be aware that you have to incorporate and to this in your e-presence in Finland, the P's, you see. So you have to go slowly and carefully which one of the P's, otherwise you mess up. So I will give you some examples of success stories of companies, in this case Portuguese-based, that enter to Finland and are succeeding. So one of them is Vision Box, that they have a system that the authorities in Finland, they use for handling the passports in the border, you see. So these persons, they could make it that they sold to the government. So a very extremely and difficult market, but they made it. So it's possible. And by the way, I got to know Vision Box because one of his key members, Felipe Fernandes, was speaker of International Minds in Finland, which is an activity that happens regularly in Finland, Portugal, and Ireland, with always with the same name, International Minds in Finland. And in Portugal, the chairwoman is Dulce Flat. So the other company is Out Systems, that they are having success here in Finland. And one of the things that I would like is that you don't get the idea that just companies that are born electronically, digitally, they succeed, because we are having helping companies in the traditional markets, such as cheese industry. So we move on. So one of the companies that we invest, we have investments in Portugal and here as well, and one of them is Accelerating, that they support companies to come here. And one of them, for instance, this eco ticket that nowadays is called Repeltech, that is as well very innovative, has got a product against mosquitoes, and they managed to blend the great concept that Finland has got for the children when the couple or the mother has got a child. So they receive from the Finnish government a package for the child. So they are doing it through the United Nations, UNICEF. They are doing this in emerging markets, and they are incorporating this technology that they have, that is that the clothes, they are anti-mosquito, so the mosquito doesn't bite the child and the child doesn't get malaria. So this is extremely important. It's as an example. Then the idea of the e-presence in Finland is very much what I challenge you is to blend the biological needs with virtual reality and augmented reality, and is everything that you think as a verb, like eating, enjoying, sightseeing, whatever. If you feel that there is a biological need that you are satisfying already, then try to blend it with the virtual reality and augmented reality. So then you are one step further in terms of the delivering of the solution. It demands creativity, but it's worth. And then you will see your market share growing up here in Finland. Then the next steps, what I would say is that you might you made already your homework regarding the VPS, the value price structure of your company. If you don't, you can take a look to our framework that was published in 2009, and then you can do it yourself. If you want, you can have our assistant. It's fine by us. And then let's interact and then see how your VPS, and then the VPS will highlight the capabilities and the will of your company and the entry mode. And then let's enter the Finnish market. And as they say here in Finland, I will attempt to speak Finnish by saying tervetuloa Suomeen. And this gentleman that you see here on the right is my son, training to be an astronaut in the future. And the Helsinki Equity Covenant is co-founded by Luis Santos, which is nowadays running the universities that we have in Portugal, and myself. And this is the previous session. So it's all from my part. I am ready to take answers. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Marco, for your presentation. Now we have some time for question and answers. I would like to ask our participants to, if they want, to put their questions in the chat. And our dear moderators and invited people like Marco and Alexander, I would like to ask you to be ready for the questions. If there are no questions, I will start putting some questions. I'll just have one for Alexander. Alexander, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. He will be speaking in Russian.
Good morning,
and I will
Irina.
translate.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you. We welcome you also in this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Regarding the Russian market, Alexander has told us that it is important. It's a matter of culture. So people in Russia, they do not work as agents, and it's preferable to have a company with specialized people who enter the Russian market in areas such as food, textiles, furniture, and so on. I'd like to ask you if it is a growing and steady market now that we have sanctions, and what do you think is of many strategies? What do you think is the best strategy to enter the market in Russia?
Значит, есть основные рынки, которые ты перечислял, ну и которые, в принципе, есть. Это еда, текстиль, еще что-то, что имеет смысл, в которых имеет смысл выходить на Россию. Первый вопрос: являются ли эти рынки стабильными, устойчивыми в ситуации санкций? И второй вопрос: основная стратегия, которую ты считаешь лучшей?
По поводу остальных рынков, здесь нужно привести следующий пример.
As for other markets, I would like to give the following example.
Сейчас в России четвертый кризис с 2009 года.
Now it's the fourth crisis since 2009.
И каждый раз, когда в России начинается кризис, например, люди не перестают покупать еду.
And every time there is a crisis in Russia, people do not stop buying food.
Да, но они покупают более дешевую еду.
Yes, people try to find something cheaper.
Люди не перестают покупать одежду и машины.
People do not stop buying clothes or cars.
Но они начинают в России покупать более дешевую одежду и
But they try
использованные
to
машины.
buy cheaper clothes and used cars.
Поэтому, когда иностранная компания выходит на рынок России,
So when a foreign company enters the Russian market,
наиболее безопасная стратегия
the safest strategy
работать в среднем ценовом сегменте.
Is to work in the middle price segment.
И это более безопасно. То есть в более дешевом сегменте, конечно, в России всегда будет выигрывать китайская продукция.
When we talk about cheap products, Chinese products will always win this competition.
Более дорогой сегмент, люксовый сегмент.
The premium and the luxury segment.
Как я сказал, все 4 раза при этих кризисах очень сильно страдал.
They normally suffer a lot during any crisis.
Второй важный совет.
The second important advice:
если ваша продукция дорогая или премиальная,
if your products are expensive or if your products are premium,
я рекомендую сконцентрироваться только на 2 городах: Москва и Санкт-Петербург.
I recommend to focus on 2 cities only, which are Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Тогда вы даже в кризис будете иметь стабильный сбыт на свою продукцию. И тогда ваш бизнес будет более стабилен и защищен.
Then, even in crisis, you will have stable demand on your products, and you will be safer in any time.
Для примера, в России живет 146 миллионов человек.
So the total population of Russia is 146 million people.
В Москве живет 20 миллионов человек.
20 million people live in Moscow only.
То есть только в Москве живет больше, чем 13% населения всей России.
It's more than 13% of the total population of Russia.
Вот так.
2 стратегии подведи. Ну, ты сказал 2 стратегии основные, которые я рекомендую в кризис. So to sum up, the 2 strategies are: first of all, try to go into medium price segment, and the second one,
Сконцентрируйтесь на 2 самых богатых дорогих городах.
focus on the richest cities in Russia, which are Moscow and St. Petersburg. Then you will be safer.
Я забыл сказать, что в России
out of 1,115 cities in total in Russia.
Но два города позволят вам иметь постоянную прибыль и стабильный рост вашего бизнеса.
But only these two cities will help you have stable demand and constant income and profits.
Для интереса, кто не знает, для интереса, кто не знает,
Just as a extra point of information for your interest,
от Санкт-Петербурга до Финляндии на автобусе ехать 20 минут.
it's only 20 minutes to go from Finland to St. Petersburg by bus.
Okay, next question.
Any clarifications to this or any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Alexander. And as you just said, you said that it's only 20 minutes from Finland to St. Petersburg by bus. A few years ago, I've done it by train with Mark. It was wonderful. Mark, a question for you. So yes, we are living in a world of fear, of course, because of this pandemic thing like COVID. One of these days, we have to see the cost of this, of course, and how many lives, not only with COVID but the other, have costed this pandemic and this fear of being in the world. Can you give us a little more information about how Finland can be also a solution for the market entry in these Nordic countries and Russia? Because and what are the attributes of the Finnish market for doing so? Thank you.
I will try to share some thoughts on that. And the idea is that Finns, they are extremely pragmatic, or maybe not Finns, but the persons that live here, when they come here, they have to very much update the mental software regarding being pragmatic. Because the mother nature here is not easy. So if you fail, you die. You see. So in the 19th century, they had two very cold summers, and then around 5% of the population died. So you just don't mess up on the planning and on preparing for the future. So that is the reason why the things in Finland work. If you think that the Finnish market is worth of your products, then make sure that you come here. You can find consultants internationally to help you. You can find it here, but make sure that you have the capabilities and the will to do it. Because if the mindset is very much miracle happening, meaning that well, let's find somebody somewhere in the world, including in Finland, that will work on the commission basis, as Alexander just said, for Russia. Well, that is a good approach if you are on the business of buying lottery tickets. You see, so it might happen. It might happen. But if you are on the business of business, then I wouldn't suggest such strategy. Some friends, they used to say that, well, one way from the United States, one way that they have to select the doctors to whom they visit in New York is very much the ones that have waiting lists. The ones that they are ready, they are not exactly their preference, especially if the sickness is serious. So my idea is that you are a Portuguese company, a Brazilian company, whatever. You want to be in Finland, you do your homework and organize that somebody, some company here in Finland is helping you, and then come here and expect that will be difficult, but there are certain things that you will not find so often around the world, like if the Finns say that the invoice is to be paid in 30 days, it will be paid in 30 days. If the Finns say to you that a product requirement is on a certain way, then you can be sure that the police is not taking the product out of the shelf because the consultant gave you the wrong information. If you are a Brazilian, as I see among the participants, you have a bonus to enter Russia. You see, so Russia and Brazil, they can go straight, communicate and cooperate. In February, I was in Russia, helping Brazilian company to enter in Russia, and the way we would be doing it would be through Finland as well. You see, so use Finland as much as you can because it pays off. I finish.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you. Some very important items that we should be aware of when thinking about using Finland as a hub. I believe, Alexander, that for your according to your presentation, I believe that Russian people trust in international products and international brands. Is it so?
Так это или нет?
Да, вначале я чуть прокомментирую ответ Марка.
At first, I would like to give a very short comment on what Marco has just said.
Что касается разницы между Финляндией и Россией для португальских компаний.
Talking about the difference between Finland and Russia for Portuguese and Brazilian companies.
Я скажу на примере продуктов питания.
I will talk using the examples from food industry.
Для России, для примера, для России продукты из Финляндии – это продукты самого высшего качества.
For Russia, products from Finland are the highest quality.
Если вы португальская компания делаете фуд высокого качества.
So if you are a Portuguese company and you produce food of high quality,
вас быстрее поймут в Финляндии.
In Finland they will understand you much better.
Если вы выращиваете сырье или делаете сырье и продаете его вагонными кораблями.
But if you grow raw materials and you sell in containers and in ships,
вас быстрее поймут в России.
People will understand you much better in Russia.
Разница между фуд-рынком Финляндии и фуд-рынком России.
The difference between food industry in Finland and food industry in Russia.
Пищевая индустрия Финляндии ориентирована на выпуск небольших партий супервысокого качества.
Is that in Finland they focus on small quality but supreme quality. Small quantity but supreme quality. So in Russia, it's the other approach. We are focused on quantities first. So if you're a small or if you're a family business and you produce something expensive and premium quality, it's easier to start with Finland because people will understand you much better. In Russia, it will be more difficult because people will continue asking you, why is that so expensive? So for Finland, quality is more important, but for Russia, price is more important. Они ценятся, насколько они ценятся больше, чем российские бренды? То, что ты говорил вначале.
Возвращаясь к вопросу профессора Карлоса.
So going back to our question about the international brands.
В России особенно целятся иностранные бренды, иностранные продукты.
So in Russia they value the most foreign products.
Которые в России не выпускаются и, к примеру, не выращиваются.
That are not produced or that are not grown in Russia at all.
Для примера, вино.
For example, wine.
В России тоже есть виноградники и тоже есть вино.
In Russia they do produce wine.
Технологи из Франции, из Италии помогают выращивать этот виноград.
People from France and from Italy come and help us grow the grapes.
Если мы придем в российский магазин, будет около 100 видов различного вина.
And if we come to a Russian shop, there will be about 100 types of different wines.
Но мы увидим, что российского вина будет, может быть, 10-15%.
But it will be about 10 to 15% of Russian wine.
Остальное вино будет иностранное.
The rest will be wine from other countries.
Я объясню причину. Причина состоит в том, что
the reason is that
в России в свое время было много поддельной продукции.
In Russia there used to be a lot of fake products.
Поэтому русские больше доверяют иностранной продукции, как более натуральной и настоящей, не подделанной.
That's why Russians trust international brands, and they think that if this brand is an international brand, then it means it is not fake.
Для примера, люди из Москвы могут на выходные полететь в Милан или в Париж, чтобы купить одежду.
For example, people from Moscow normally at the weekend fly to Milan or to Paris just to buy clothes.
Только потому, чтобы заплатить дорогую цену за дорогую вещь, но эта вещь будет настоящая.
Because they want to be sure that this is the original thing that they are buying.
Вот это главная причина. Вот почему иностранные бренды более в России востребованы и интересны.
That's why international brands and foreign brands are so much in demand in Russia.
Вторая важная причина.
And the second important reason.
На примере нескольких моих знакомых, кто делает водку в Новой Зеландии и в Польше.
This is an example from some of my friends from New Zealand and Poland who produce vodka.
В России мы давно перестали развивать этот продукт.
In Russia, we stopped developing this product a long time ago.
С точки зрения качества и интереса вкуса.
In terms of the quality and in terms of the taste.
И я могу сказать, что в Польше делают водку более эмоционально интересную, чем в России.
So in Poland, they produce a more emotionally interesting vodka.
В Новой Зеландии делают водку из таких ингредиентов, просто невероятно.
In New Zealand, they use incredible ingredients for their vodka.
Для примера, в России бутылка водки стоит 100 рублей.
So in Russia, a bottle of vodka costs 100 rubles.
Но даже вот Марко сейчас кивает головой.
But now Marco is looks like he agrees with me.
Водка Finland it's самая популярная водка в России.
Finland vodka is the most popular in Russia.
Она в 3 раза дороже, чем российская водка.
It is 3 times more expensive than the Russian ones.
Но качество этой водки
But the quality of this vodka is much better than any Russian one.
Это следующая главная причина, почему иностранные продукты востребованы, потому что они больше развились в упаковке.
So we can say that foreign products are better developed in terms of their quality, in terms of their packaging, ingredients, marketing. So they become more interesting for Russian customers. That's all.
Thank you, Alexander. So, Marco, in your opinion, a company to use the attributes of to be present in Finland, or either to use Finland as an hub to other markets surrounding Finland, the Baltic countries, for instance, also. Is it important to use the know-how that is in Finland, or is it too much risky to go by themselves and try the market on a basis of let's see what we can do and what is the potential? Do you believe it is important to have some kind of support and the know-how as to diminish the experience curve and to prepare better to enter the market?
That is a very good question and very relevant one. And what a comment, making a bridge between what your question and what dear Alexander mentioned, which is totally right. Russians, they are very much like the Portuguese. You see, so they value quite much the foreigner brands, and not so much like the Finns. So one of the things that you can have here in Finland is, and what I have been observing, is because Finland has got so well branded internationally that if you are setting up a company and if you have the possibility that you have a company in Finland, you don't miss that opportunity because of the brand association with it. You see, so it's like a certification that you are among the best, you are among the top. You see, if you have a company in Finland, and I know cases of Portuguese companies that they are establishing their solution here in Finland because of the branding. Because it's much easier to go to the United States to sell the product if it's Finn than if it's Portuguese. Then the other thing that besides the branding, one of the things that I like in Finland is that they have a infrastructure, ecosystem ready to help persons on business. You see, so if you want to get international from Finland, you will have the consultants that is helping you to get international paid 50%. So you have to have 50% of the money, then the state, they pay 50% to the consultants, and then you move on. And the consultants and the fairs and all the digital needs to get international. They are real international centric, and they are organized to do that. Another thing that I find it extremely interesting, and that is one of the reasons why the contracts that our companies we do, and sometimes even when they are Portuguese companies, we choose the Finnish law and Finnish court to settle difference of opinion, because they are faster than the Portuguese judicial system. And guess what? I don't pay more in Finland for lawyers than I pay in Portugal. You see, so you have better quality for less price. And this is the cost of context of Finland. They are much lower. So and of course, when you are in the finance area for equity and debt, it's night and day compared with the other jurisdictions. You see, so you go to the bank, they are very transparent. You start to talk with the business angels, you start to talk with the private equity funds, venture capital. It's everything very transparent and fast. You see, so of course that there are plus and minus in all the countries, because countries are projections of human beings, so nobody is perfect. But if you are thinking internationally and you don't put Finland on the map, I have some difficulties to understand what are you talking when you are saying that you want to be international present. You see, so this is just my idea.
Okay, thank you very much, Marco. Maybe we could now maybe we could now add some final remarks. I would like to ask you both some final remarks for our webinar. We do not have any more questions at the moment. Alexander, I would like to ask you, if possible, to have a few minutes for final remarks regarding Russia and the Russian market, please. Thank you very much.
Да, я хочу сказать очень важную вещь, что среди европейских компаний
I would like to point out that among European companies,
меньше всего информации в России знают про фуд из Португалии.
food companies from Portugal are not at all known in Russia.
В России сложился определенный стереотип разных продуктов с разными странами.
So in Russia, we have quite many stereotypes about food products from different countries.
И это касается и фуд, и других направлений.
So it goes both for food industry and for other industries too.
Для примера, одежда и дизайн там, ресторанов и так далее, это Италия.
For example, when we talk about Italy, we think that the best there is clothing and design of restaurants.
Косметика и бьюти-индустрия – это Франция.
So when we talk about cosmetics and beauty industry, we associate it with France brands.
Что-то надежное и стабильное, как оборудование или транспорт, это Германия.
Some equipment or some machinery, it goes for Germany.
Ситуация Португалии очень похожа ситуации Великобритании.
As for Portugal, the situation is very similar to the UK, to Great Britain.
Я объясню причину.
Let me explain the reason.
В Великобритании почти никто не работал с Россией, пока они были в Евросоюзе.
While the UK was a part of European Union, nobody worked with Russia.
И сейчас, когда произошел Brexit, они сейчас очень усиленно ищут возможности выйти на рынок России.
But now, having Brexit, they are trying to find new markets, and Russia is one of them, of course.
Но мы не знаем ничего про фуд из Великобритании.
But we know nothing about food products from Great Britain.
Я не знаю, что производит Великобритания, какую фуд.
I don't know at all. I don't know any British brands.
С одной стороны, у Португалии есть преимущества и недостатки.
So talking about Portugal, we can say there are advantages and disadvantages.
Преимущество
So the advantages are very good associations with country itself because many Russians go for holidays there. So when Portuguese companies try to enter the Russian market, so they are going to be interesting because they are going to be unusual. We have hundreds of Italian companies, Spanish companies. So we know their products and we understand the price for their products. So this is the main advantage. So your products are going to be really interesting and people will be willing to listen to you and to find any type of cooperation, and then they will judge depending on the quality and depending on the price. And the main disadvantage is, like for most of European companies, is this fear of working directly with Russian buyers. That's why what I am trying to highlight is that you can work with Russian companies via Portuguese consulting companies. So it will be easier for you to understand the Russian market if you work via your own home companies. And please don't forget, just like Marco has told us about the Baltics countries. So if you supply to Russia and if you have a Russian certificate to transport it around Russia, you will also get access to 4 more countries of the customs union. Kyrgyzstan. So they are Kazakhstan, Armenia, Belarus, and Kyrgyzstan. So you will not need to pay any customs duties, or you will not to go through any additional procedure to supply there. That's my final comments.
Okay, thank you very much, Alexander and Irina. I wish to thank you both for your participation and your shared opinions in this webinar. Now I'd like to ask Marco if you have any final remarks, any final comments that you wish to share with us.
Thank you. I would like to thank the opportunity for participating on these two events that you organized, and I had the honor to have Alexander as a co-speaker. And my pleasure to transmit some information to the participants that are here now, and they were in the previous one, and through the PDF that will be made available. What my message is very much like don't let you down. The times are critical, but we are able to overcome the challenges. So let's get together, the companies that want to get international, please contact Professor Carlos Silva there in Portugal, and then he will talk to me whatever the companies that he feels that could be develop some cooperation towards coming to Finland. And one thing is for sure, if you do the things right, you enter Finland, and then you are present in the other Baltic and Nordic countries, and you have the possibility of entering this a huge market that Euro-Asia that Alexander just mentioned. Thank you very much, and I wish you health, because if we are health, there is no problem that we cannot overcome. Go for it.
Okay, thank you very much once again. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Irina, also. I wish to thank you also our participants. Please don't go away without accessing the webinar. There's a link in the chat for you to access the webinar. Now em português. Obrigado pela vossa presença neste webinar com um conjunto de informações importantes para aceder aos mercados nórdicos e ao mercado russo. Antes de saírem, pedimos que façam a avaliação do seminário através do webinar, através do link. Agradeço-vos imenso, em meu nome, em nome da Universidade Europeia, nestes webinars de Share to Perform, um conjunto de webinars que são úteis para as empresas portuguesas. Muito obrigado, um bom fim de semana a todos e boa saúde. Thank you very much once again, Marco and Alexander. Wish you a good health. Have a pleasant National Day in Russia, Alexander and Irina. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend, you all. Thank you. See you soon, I hope. Thank you very much. Marco, obrigado.
Obrigado, eu.
Mais uma vez. Ficas com um ar um bocadinho com o bigode, ficas assim com um ar um bocadinho.
Epá, é que me cortei.
Ok, ok.
Estás a ver?
Andaste a cortar no inverno.
Não, andei a utilizar uma gilete que pensava que ainda dava mais uma vez. Pronto,
Olha, obrigado pela tua disponibilidade mais uma vez, Marco.
Foi um prazer.
Ok. Olha, mas eu depois vou falar contigo porque já temos novidades acerca da outra situação com a universidade, está bem?
Boa.
Eu consigo falar contigo eventualmente na terça, está bem?
Ótimo.
Depois mantém um WhatsAppzinho para voltarmos a falar, ok?
Ok. Beijinho à Margarida e à Isabel. Moço, que eu suponho que há de estar por aqui, mas portanto...
Ela hoje não está, mas está connosco em pensamento.
Exatamente. Ok. Tenha um bom fim de semana e obrigado por tudo.
Obrigado mais uma vez.
Tchau. Um abraço.